A lot of the parents come and ask us, really? Can a 3.5 really tell you a story, their own story? How can a 3.5 make their own story? As children make stories all the time. Children are natural storytellers, natural pretenders, natural improvisers. You've got to let their personality blossom. You have to accept. You have to listen. You have to, again, connect, not correct.
No, I mean, the kind of skills that you were discussing honestly seemed like B school skills, right? Like MBA skills. It didn't feel like, oh, I'm talking about a theatre workshop.
There's a whole list, yeah. But this shyness obviously is a very, very big concern, especially after COVID. Shyness is not a personality trait, it's a feeling. So, labeling a child that she's shy or he's shy, especially when the child is standing there, is not fair. I know sometimes parents tell me, how do I know what my child wants to do? We don't need to know. Your child knows. You've got to trust their journey. You've got to trust them. You've got to, because we don't trust ourselves, so we don't trust children.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Sitaara podcast. Today we have with us Simran Arneja, who is a theatre director, a drama facilitator with over 2 decades of experience. She is the founder of Theatre with Simran, where they work with children over 2 years of age and they conduct storytelling, theatre, and drama workshops. Hi, Simran.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Thank
so
you.
thrilled to have you here.
My pleasure.
Yeah. So, Simran, in today's conversation, we'll deep dive into the world of theatre and creative drama. And through that, explore the world of creativity, imagination, storytelling, and expressions, emotions for children, and understand from you as to how they're all connected. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's jump right in. Why don't you help us understand what creative drama is and how did you get into teaching creative drama?
Okay, so we'll change the word from teaching to exploring
Okay.
because we really don't teach in our company, our philosophy. We're exploring, we're journeying with children. We don't like to direct them. We don't like to tell them this is what you should do, that is what you should do. It's really, it's like, and this is where creative drama is. It's like you giving them the space that they come and do drama in is a canvas, and we give them colors. The colors are their imagination. And we don't tell them this is the way or this stroke you have to use or that stroke you have to use. It's just very different. So when I say creative drama, drama is play. And that's what we do. We play with children. They play with us. We play with stories. Yeah. So we'll start with, when we start at the very youngest age, at 2, we're really immersing them into the world of stories and drama. And we use stories in the sense like those are our themes that we use. And then we'll put them into these contexts and then, ask them. Really put them into like if this is a tree, how would you become a tree? How would the bear move? Rather than telling them, oh, this is the way you should move.
Yeah.
Or this is the way the bear should move. And how would you change your body into a bear rather than saying, okay, can you copy me and become a bear? No.
Yeah.
They might copy you because under 3.5, they love looking at you, mirroring you. 3.5 onwards, it changes a lot. You put them into a context and then they can, become different things, give their own ideas. It's really beautiful. It's very, and creative drama does not lead within that thing into like a performance. It's more an exploration of the body, of the feelings, of what they sort of are seeing in a scenario of the story.
Yeah.
What are the moments in a story? How can I play those out without thinking this is right or wrong, without thinking how it's going to end? That all comes out very organically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. How I got into is really, by accident. So this goes really long time back. My mom was really, really sick and I couldn't, I wanted to become a designer and I couldn't.
How old were you then?
I was 21.
Okay.
I had to take a gap year because my mom fell horribly sick. So I couldn't, give any exams, nothing. And I was sitting at home. My dad had a school. So I had to take care of her for the next 2-3 years. So I decided to start like going to my dad's school. There, by accident, the English literature teacher could not make it, and they had nobody, and I started teaching there. I had already done my literature. And that's when I realized that, this is a classroom setup, this is literature, but there's so much more that you can do. What is it that you can do? And then I saw this ad in the newspaper which says Barry John's drama teachers training program, and I'm like, oh, okay. And I was a big Shah Rukh fan.
Yeah.
Okay, wow, Barry John, let's go, maybe I can use drama in my class. I had no idea what I was getting into. I had no idea. I thought that, I'll go and they'll teach me how to use tools and techniques. That was a part of the program. What happened was the way it empowered me as an individual at the age of 22. It gave me my calling. The first thing they told me in the workshop was to draw myself when I'm the happiest. And since, I just started working in that school, and I said, when I'm telling a story to the children, I'm the happiest. And then, the whole course opened for us. But who really actually, I really want to mention. So Barry took like the first 2 days of the workshop. Who actually trained us through was Sukesh Arora. And he's been such an influence in my work life, in the way I see drama, in the way I see theatre, in the way I see children. I feel I owe everything to him. He's been a mentor. And Barry used to himself say that the way Sukesh sees children, it's just so good. And that's it. And then, I did some work with Imago. Then we shifted to this. And then Sukesh founded Yellow Cat. I joined him. And I was at Yellow Cat for longest of years, going as a visiting faculty in schools.
Okay.
That's, first 10 years of my life. I visited a lot of schools in Delhi as a drama facilitator. And then, after that came about all these programs that I built, the after school programs that we are now running in Delhi.
Yeah.
It really came out from kind of work we did in schools.
Yeah. No, I mean, so glad theatre happened to you, and I think through you to all the children that you're working with. Simran, I'd like to go back to one thing that you said, right? That before you got into that workshop, you had no idea what you were getting into. And I think generally our understanding of drama is in a way theatre and acting.
Yeah.
Right? So, but I have been to your workshops and practice sessions, and I've seen for myself that is so much more than that. Right? So why don't you tell our viewers as to what the process is that happens behind the stage? That's got nothing to do with the performance on that day.
Yeah. To talk about the process, I'd also like to go through the ages of, so we now do work 2+, but in the earlier times, I've also started work at like 1+, where I used to run these parent, toddler programs and just exploring story and drama exercises and creative work with children. And those children are now 13, 14, assisting us.
Wow.
And I still remember this 1.5, 2-year-old child looking at me like with big eyes. And now he's assisting me, and he would not talk at that time. He would just look while I was doing the story. I would talk to him. He would just sit down and just watch me. And now he's like, when he's on stage, he's been playing all this. He's played characters like Wonka and all of that. And people are like, oh my God, his parents are like, is he the same child?
Yeah.
But that's what I tell. It's the process. It's actually the process that makes them who they are. It's the consistency. And it's how they work around with all of that. So, where we'll, at 2 to 4, we'll immerse them into the world of stories and drama.
Okay.
Then let's say 3, so that's our Talking Tales program. And then we move on to 3.5 to 5. That's where then, we stop using props.
Okay.
Children's imagination is so rich. They are role-playing and pretending all the time. You don't need props for them to, you put them into a context, you put them into a story, and like on the spot, children are great improvisers. You have to just tell them, okay, what do you think? How do you do this? How do you think this can happen? What do you think? How are you feeling? If you're this, how are you feeling? They will respond because, they know that it's a safe space. They know that I won't be judged. We have to win their trust first.
Yeah.
And then they're like ready to go. They're just so full of ideas. They're so creative. And then, at 4.5, 5, we start the whole playmaking process.
Okay.
Where we take either stories that are known to children, we change them around with them, adapt them, or we might build stories from scratch as well. And when I say, so let's say the 1/3 of the program would be about exploring the stories, exploring those characters, and all the children become different things. We put them into situations, and then we move on to deciding, okay, fine, how do I convert my story into a play? And that I'm going to show at the end.
Yeah.
So, and how are we going to do it?
Yeah.
The we is super important over here.
Yeah.
And that's what the whole process is. It's about the we.
Yeah.
I fit into that we. And that's where it takes the whole, that whole. So, a lot of the times, Lockwood people really tell us, wow, the kids were so confident on stage. Because we don't make a big deal out of being on stage. The big deal is that we have to all work towards this common goal of making this
Yeah.
play. That's the journey. Because each time, even once, you've decided the story, you've decided. So in the beginning, when they're just playing with scenes, I can see the play, I can envision what is going to finally happen
Yeah.
in the final play, what scenes we're going to take. We decided with them. Even when the rehearsal process starts, a very integral part of our process is
Yeah.
feedback.
Yeah.
Where, once they're put into groups, they create scenes, they have to constantly give feedback to each other. And very constructive feedback they give.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so amazing.
Yeah. And you mentioned that the improvisation starts as
Yeah.
young
As young as 3.5.
3.5. I mean, that's
Yeah, as young as
mind-blowing.
3.5. We take stories from children, we play them out then and there. We're probably exploring a story in class, about, let's say, a jungle, and okay, let's all become different things in the jungle. And then, things like a child might be sitting next to a child, and the other one says, I'm becoming a tree. I'm also becoming a tree next to this child.
Yeah.
And then, they start connecting. They might not verbally connect, but you see that they'll suddenly touch the shoulder.
Yeah.
It's all connection. This is all improvisation. You've got to really watch kids, of what they do.
Yeah.
Even the shyest of children, if you
Yeah.
tell them, okay, this is happening, and then, for example, Leila walked into the park, can you all become the flowers in the park? And you have to see, they will immediately turn their bodies, and each child will be such a different flower. And that's what needs respect.
Yeah.
That's what you need. That's what's important.
Yeah.
To respect their opinions, their values.
Yeah.
That's what's important.
Yeah. And I think, this one time when we visited one of your practice sessions, we noticed that there are a lot of mixed
Yeah,
group of
yeah.
students, right? So I think there was somebody who's as old as like 3 years old, and they're working or, in the same workshop with another child who's maybe like 8 or 9.
No, so that must be, then the 8-9-year-old must be assisting
Okay.
the 3 to 6-year-old
Yeah.
workshop.
So this is one of the practice sessions for the Chronicles of Narnia.
Oh, no. So they were all of them 8 plus.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And then we had 13 and 14-year-olds who were assisting
Got
them.
it. Got
Yes.
it. But I mean, even like, between say like 4 to 6.
Yes, we
It's a
do age
mixed
groups.
age group,
Because
right?
it works this way. In theatre and drama and in life, we will never come across, if I'm 40. So
Yeah.
if I'm in grade 1, I'm maximum with children who are in grade 1 who are 6-year-old. But when you talk about life,
Yeah.
you're not going to come across same age always.
Yes.
So we always club 3 to 4, let's say 6 to 9, 9 to 12 years old, 3 to 5 years old.
Yeah.
With the very younger ones, we're very particular about 2 to 4, 4 to 6.
Yeah.
But as they keep getting older, it broadens up. So
Broad-
you can have 8 to 12.
Yes.
You can have 9 to 13. You can
Yes.
do, yeah.
And I think there, what you spoke about working together as we,
Yeah.
how does that work? Because I think there a lot of older students might have to sort of maybe slow down a bit, or
Yeah.
and younger students have to look up to.
They have
So
to. And that's the best part, because it teaches them patience.
yeah.
And it sort of, and for the younger ones, it brings about confidence in them that, even if this person's older than me, my opinions are as valuable
Yeah.
as the 13-year-olds.
Yeah.
Because when the 13-year-olds, when let's say our 8 to 11-year-olds are making a play, and the 11 to 13s are assisting us,
Yeah.
and they will sit and they will patiently listen.
Hmm.
And the first time they always assist, the first term they have on assisting, they always come and tell us, wow, this needs so much patience,
Yeah.
you know. And but they've been through it. They've been through the time when we've taken their ideas and
Yeah.
we've put that across. So they've been
Yeah.
through all of that.
Yeah. I mean, that's really incredible, just listening to this. And I think this, I was just wondering that we're talking so much about these different lessons or learnings that children imbibe from workshops and theater.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if I were to ask you, what are some of the lessons in theater and drama which have got nothing to do with acting? I
Yes.
know we spoke
There's
about
a
a
whole
few.
list.
Yeah, I mean, we'd
Yeah.
love for you to, just mention a few.
So, I'll give you with examples. For example, decision making.
Yeah.
When we sit down together, a group of, let's say, 16 people who are supposed to make this play at the end, it's 16 of us who have to have that one and a half. It comes in every term and it's a very important day. But it just makes me, every time, I feel so happy because all 16 of us have to come up with a decision because it's our play. And we have to, and it's not easy for 16 people, it's not easy for 3 people to decide.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so you have to take ideas from everywhere. Everybody has to feel that my idea is also there.
Yeah.
And also, it has to make sense. It has to have some logic. Just because my idea is, I love it, it cannot be there. And there are people we're constantly engaging, constantly talking, how this will work, how this will not work. So it works on that.
Yeah.
Then lateral thinking. I'll give you an example. We do this play, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and we revive it every 3-4 years. The first time we did it, we realized that, this whole thing of these children, there's a particular scene where they enter the inventing room and there are these machines over there. So we put the children into groups. We gave them recycled material, toilet paper tubes and boxes and pipe cleaners, and just in class. And we said, okay, fine, and you have to create your own machine. And now it becomes a part. Every time we adapt Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, our script undergoes changes all the time. Every time we have new machines, we have a prop designer coming in who sees, what have the children finally, made. And how this solve problems of, let's say, a never melting ice cream machine.
Yeah.
What have you put into it? And then the designer comes, they make the model, we question, everybody questions, and then the final machines comes about.
Okay.
And then we put them into the play, we get them designed by the prop designer.
Got it.
So that, then collaborating, that everybody knows, like you
Yeah.
can't do theater if you
Yeah.
can't collaborate.
Yeah.
And there is this whole motivation towards a common goal, meeting deadlines, because we only have that much time to make this play. We do play around in the beginning. It's very important to play. It's very important to experiment. It's very important to explore. But in the end, we have a time limit, so we have to finish things. So meeting deadlines. Then I'd say critical thinking, so important. Like I was talking about this whole feedback process.
Yeah.
They question, they reflect, they talk. So if, for example, they've seen a scene and they're sitting as the audience, and those children end the scene, they are not the children, they're not their friends now. They are children in a scene in that setup, and they are then asked questions that, okay, why did you do this as this character? They have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Why did you do this? Why did you do that? And then, this feedback is so important because that's when we take a step back.
Yeah.
And it's them interacting, it's their questions, it's their answers. And they're like, ma'am, I'm like, no, don't look at me. They did the scene, it's their scene.
Yeah.
The questions have to be addressed there.
Yeah.
And that's what I think, empowers so much.
Yeah.
Acting is one bit of it.
Yeah.
And a lot of the parents, we're very lucky, because a lot of our parents who come to us, they know that they're coming here for skill building.
Okay.
They're very clear. We're not here to put them into Bollywood.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean the kind of skills that you were discussing honestly seemed like B school skills, right? Like MBA skills. It didn't
Yeah.
feel like, oh, I'm talking about a theater workshop.
Yeah, because this is skills for life. When they
Yeah.
tomorrow become team leaders, they work in the corporate culture, wherever you work.
Yeah.
It's about social skills, it's about
Yeah,
working with
yeah.
people.
Yeah. And one more thing, you mentioned earlier that, children actually forget that they're on the stage. So,
Yeah.
do they also get very comfortable with the stage, as in, like, stage fright is something that a lot of children and even adults struggle with, right? So, do you think that also helps later on in life?
Definitely. I have seen that happening with so many children I know, so many. Like, from the first play to their fourth or the fifth play, you can't imagine, and always it's like this.
Yeah.
There are some children, their graphs are like this, but that's okay. Every child is different. They're humans. We all go through our own phases.
Yeah.
But I have seen like amazing progression for children who've been very consistent.
Yeah.
Amazing progression. To the fact that, I know I keep talking about these children who are resisting us, but they will so confidently stand there. Like right now, we're reviving Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and there are these assistant directors, these 13-year-olds who are assisting us, and they will just stand there, and we're making a scene. The scene's being, there's a break. They will come up to me and say, "Ma'am, I think the stage is not balancing out. So maybe this should be here, this should be there." And these are 12 and 13-year-olds.
Yeah.
Yeah. They know that those opinions are so important that they put across and those things are done.
Yeah.
And similarly for children who are participating in the play, we're constantly, they're giving feedback. They're constantly working on their play. They're constantly working to the last day. This is live theatre. This is not a pre-recorded show that we do
Yeah.
in the end with the
Yeah.
4.5 plus
Yeah.
to, let's say, 13-year-olds.
Yeah.
So they know from day one that on the last day, if we goof up, we have to support each other. And the support will not be like, say your line.
Yeah.
Because that happens in rehearsals. But they go through that whole process of, it can't be say your line.
Yeah.
It has to be support in terms of the character. You have to cover up. But
Yeah.
the audience should not get to know that you goofed up and covered up.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, having watched one of those shows myself, I think I saw that comfort that you're talking about on stage, and I think also within the group,
Yeah.
there was a lot of comfort.
They come really close.
Yeah.
They come really close by the end of the show. In fact, we've got certain groups who tell us, their moms message us that we want this timing only and this day only, because all her friends, and they're all people from different schools that come together and they
Yeah.
make friends here and they want to be in that
Yeah.
particular group.
Yeah,
So we always get that, like, years of friendship. now.
yeah, yeah. Simran, do these things happen in schools these days? Like, is theatre or creative drama a part of school
Yes,
curriculum?
It is.
And-
It's so much better than when I started.
Yeah,
When I started, we were really struggling,
yeah,
because very few schools took theatre seriously. I still remember, I'm not going to take any names, the one school I was working at, and I was going in as the visiting faculty 2 days a week. And I kept telling the principal, we are doing a lot of work in the class, but now, we just start making these little plays, which maybe we can just show to another group. And they would not. I mean, they would like, no. How can we put this in the timetable? आप करते रहो जो हमें आपको class में करना है. Because at that time I came in through the owner's approach or whatever, and they didn't want the drama person to be there. The awareness wasn't there. So, and we've struggled in those years.
Yeah.
There were only few selected schools, but some of the schools we worked with they give us a lot of space. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of space. And now it's so much more better.
Yeah.
There is a lot of schools have do creative drama theater.
Okay.
But you know what happens, and I don't blame the schools, is that because of the numbers, uh, and because they have to put up like a musical show for like, let's say 200 people, 250 people, they can't do the kind of work that we do. Like
Yeah.
we do ensemble work. You
Yeah.
know, with us, if there are 16 children, they're making the play, we can really go deep into the play, deep into their contribution in the play and
Yeah.
what they're doing, change things around. And because we're working with a very small,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's actually one of the reasons.
Yeah. No,
Because
I
it's
mean,
really large numbers.
yeah.
Because a lot of the children, you know, they won't even get a chance to step on stage in school, and you have to see what they do in our classes.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. No, that's great. And I think that's what I was wondering, because I mean, schools love structure.
Yeah.
And the kind of process that you are talking
Yeah.
about is pretty unstructured and very immersive.
Yeah.
So was just wondering if, you know,
Yeah.
schools have that
To
kind
start with, yes, but we also have to move towards structure. We also do because you know, children also like to. So a lot of my work also in the beginning was a lot of process drama, and I've done a lot of process drama where, you know, we would pick up themes academically
Yeah.
and explore them through drama, finish a term, and a lot of the schools we would not do playmaking, but I also realized that they like it.
Yeah.
The children like the whole thrill of putting up a play that they've made, they've
Yeah.
ideated,
Yeah.
they've worked towards,
Yeah.
where they know that the script is not cast in stone, where it's going to change continuously,
Yeah.
and we're all learning.
Yeah. Okay. So, Simran, earlier you mentioned that, you know, you're able to create that safe space for expression for these children. How are you able to do that? Right? For example, for somebody, a child as young as like a 2.5 year old, how does that work versus a child who's say a 5 year old, right? What is that difference in creating that safe space?
So it's very different. So let's say 2.5, they will really mirror what you're doing
Okay.
at that age. And so our program that we've developed for that very young age group is very immersive, where, you know, we suggest to the parents that either a parent or a nanny accompany. It's not that to do much, but, you know, because see, separation anxiety at this age is very real. So as long as they have someone who they're comfortable with sitting there, then, you know, children leave that fear of, oh, mama's not there, and, you know, so once that goes, they start having fun. And once they're having fun, all the other children, you know, it's very infectious.
Yeah.
But there are children, for example, we do this thing called a magic carpet, where, you know, we do these stories and we invite the children, they become different things, they use their body. We never tell them act it out, you know, don't. We give them scenarios, situations, you know, let's do this, let's do that. But there are children who will not come into that space, which is totally fine. And that's what the key is. You've got to give children their time. And you've got to tell them that, you know, I'm not going to force you. When you're ready, you come in. That's it. That's it. So there are, and, you know, and I've seen really tiny children, they're really sitting down. The other child is, you know, performing or becoming a lion, and they are looking and they're watching. And when they're looking and watching and observing, they will eventually do it. They want to do it. But you've got to, as it is, you know, imagine I am feeling scared, and then there's someone standing on my head. Do it, do it, do it. It is going to be so scary.
Yeah.
So you have to wait. You have to watch them. Even sometimes, even the little step into that space where we call the magic carpet, where they come and use their bodies and, you know, become different things. A child might just come, and if I say, okay, this pencil was writing, and can you turn your body into a pencil? The child might come, become the pencil. She might just do this much.
Okay.
But you got to watch that this much she's doing. That's an effort from her side. And that's what's important. And same goes, you know, with the 5-year-olds. Where it's different is that by this time they've got a lot more confident. They're experimenting with different things.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they have to feel very confident that whatever I do, I will not be judged. I will, so I'm not going to do it. If there's someone telling me, you have to become a tree, but this is not the right way. This
Yeah.
is the way to become the tree.
Yeah.
Then what's the fun in it?
Yeah.
She's not going to, she might not look like a tree.
Yeah.
I don't care. But if she says that I am a tree, this is how I'm going to make a tree.
Yeah.
That's it. You accept it.
Yeah.
And, I'll give you an example. This is a really long time back. We were working in schools, Sukesh and me, and we were doing a production for some school, and we wanted to make this child like the main, character of I think it was a wolf or something. And then, we told him to become this, and he said, and we thought he'd be brilliant at it, and he's going to carry the whole play forward. This was really long time back. Very small, 4 years old. He tells us, I'm not going to become this. I will only become the crocodile,
Okay.
no matter what. And we had to cast him as the crocodile. He had a little bit whatever, but he was very happy doing it.
Yeah.
And, that day I realized, and I said, it's so much about what they want to do and
Yeah.
how much, and a lot about where you're meeting them. You have to meet them,
Yeah.
you have to meet them somewhere. And
Yeah.
that's what's very, very important.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that's very important that you mentioned that, because as parents, I think we have our own little agendas to
Yeah.
push,
Yeah.
right? And that's what I wanted to understand from you, with the kind of parents that, maybe come to you, or parents, what is their expectation that when they put their child in a workshop? I know you mentioned that they are well aware, they are like not teaching Bollywood or acting. But other than that, are there any concerns that they think that, oh, probably my child is shy,
Yeah.
and if I put them in a theater workshop,
Yeah.
they'll not be shy,
Yeah.
right? So are there any concerns that parents
Yeah,
come
there
to
are
you with?
numerous, multiple. Everybody has their own concern. I mean, I can't even list them down. Everybody, each parent who comes to us, each set of parent and a child who comes to us is very different.
Yeah.
And it's just so much. Everybody has a different concern. But, this shyness obviously is a very, very big concern, especially after COVID. Because it's a different generation, the COVID, that they couldn't.
COVID babies, yeah.
But, this is what I tell so many parents, that shyness is not a personality trait. It's a feeling. So, labeling a child that she's shy or he's shy, especially when the child is standing there, is not fair, because then you're not giving that, once you're labeling the child, then you're not giving that space for that child to break the boundaries and, come forth.
Yeah.
So that's something that, and that's what I wanted to also, go a little away from the topic and tell you. There's this, a lot of the parents who come to us with this concern that our child is an introvert,
Okay.
and we have children ranging from the age group of, even at the age group of 10 and 11 and 12, new children come to us where they've built a lot of their personality.
Yeah.
It's different when they come to us when they're much younger, and it's
Yeah.
very different when they come to us when they're much older.
Yeah.
Not to say that it doesn't help, it helps each way, and I have seen it myself. I mean, at whatever age, if you're consistent, the process is so organic. It is so good. It's not about me. If used well, any facilitator, if they use the process of drama really, really well and true to the core, it can make changes in a child's life.
Yeah.
Really. So, there's this author called Susan Cain, and she
Okay.
does this thing called the Quiet Revolution.
Okay.
And she speaks about this thing called where extroverts and introverts are two different personalities. And introverts have a certain skill set, well, the extroverts will not have. And you respect them for that skill set. And, just because a child is an introvert doesn't mean that he or she will stay shy throughout. You've got to work with those skill sets. And they're extremely special. They're such deep thinkers. And I have seen it myself. I might have to prod them a little bit
Yeah.
when we're discussing. Okay, what do you think? So, that's what we do. If we're discussing, we're talking about things, we're in a group, we normally, we have about 3 to 4 facilitators to 16 children, where also the other people assist us. So, but it's like 3, 4 children in one group, 5, 6 children. But we ask them, what do you think? And to start with, the child could also say, I think what she's saying is right. Because right now they don't want to let their opinion out. So you accept that as well. You will not tell them, oh no, you will not force them. No, 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 but tell me what do you think.
Yeah.
That stage comes much later.
Yeah.
You've got to, and like that story thing also I was telling you, when children make their own stories and they might listen to a story and make a story which is connecting to the other, and we not at the times tell them, oh, you've copied that other child's drawing.
Yeah.
It's not copying. I feel they're still working their way through of creating their own identity, and you have to have that patience.
Yeah.
They will eventually come up and say what they think.
Yeah.
But you've got to give them that space.
Yeah.
So, if you're constantly after a child, she's shy, if you really have to give them that space, and then they are all ready to break. They all want to break out of their shells.
Yeah.
They will all break out eventually. They do. All of them.
Yeah.
But it's the time that I cannot quantify. And over 20 years, I've realized, that's what I tell the parents from day one, that if you tell me that there'll be a change in your child in 3 months or 6 months or 2 years, I cannot quantify it. Yes, definitely, the more consistent you are, the more changes you'll see, but you can't quantify the change that's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not a miracle.
Yeah.
It's not instant coffee.
Yeah. Yeah.
It takes time. You've
Yeah.
got to be patient. And I have such amazing set of parents who've been with us through years, and they've seen that change in children. They've not left the classes. And those are the children now, constantly assisting us, and earlier I used to only work till 10, maximum 11 years of age.
Yeah.
Now we pushed it to 13. Now I am sort of looking at, people who can collaborate with us for 13 plus, because all these kids who are 13 plus, they're assisting. They're like, but we want to do theater as well,
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I don't have the time. Our team doesn't have the time. We're so busy with 2
Yeah.
to 13. But there's like constant calls from these children.
Yeah.
I still get calls from my 16 and 17-year-olds that, I have a theatre exam. What do you think? Should I do this? And it's so nice because, then they do. And so, you're like, okay, so they bhul jayenge. To chote the.
Yeah.
They don't forget.
Yeah.
They don't forget.
Yeah. No, I'm sure some of the learnings must have really worked
Yeah.
well for them, and they're
Yeah.
carrying it right
Yeah.
through their
Yeah.
teens, adulthood.
Yeah.
So I'm sure, and I think this is one thing about theater. Whoever has done theater, right? Even Bollywood actors, or even a lot of my friends, they all hold it very close to their heart.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
They always prefer it over acting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So on in that context, Simran, what are some of these core skills that shape the child, which actually helps their overall development? Like if you could mention a couple of them.
I think communication.
Okay.
Verbal and non-verbal, both. Equally important.
Okay.
And it really, really, and it builds through. It really builds through. Because like I told you, we don't do pre-scripted plays. We will not give in fact, for the past, because our programs have also grown through ages.
Yeah.
For the past 10 years, we've been running these programs in Delhi independently. Apart from this kind of work that we've done in school in the first 10 years, where I was working with Yellow Cat. Now, independently, we've been running these programs, and for the last 2 years, in the beginning, we had started this whole script writing thing, and then we sort of fizzled off because I didn't have the time and everything. And now, because Knockwood have such an amazing team that we can really expand, and very like-minded people. So we do this thing called, we started it last year. We started it as a small, we'll probably do it as an experiment with one batch, let's adapt Chronicles of Narnia. We'll write the script for it, and then if all the children are ready, then we'll turn it into a production. And then when I say we write a script for it, it wasn't that they straight away just, I read an extract and they wrote the script. It doesn't work like this. We explored, we went into drama conventions of hot seating, forum theatre, and then, those scenes came about. We questioned the characters. We did all of those things which were, so let's say if there were 13 classes, so let's say we were writing for only 4 or 5 classes. But then all the food for thought came from all the physical work. Kids are very physical.
Yeah.
You can't make them sit down and talk and write all the time. You can't. And that's actually the best part. You can't even think as adults. I can't even think that they're going to make the play this way. The way they'll just make scenes. They'll play. They are playing. They are having fun.
Yeah.
But they are giving you amazing, solid material for your play.
Yeah.
You have to just know when to catch it.
Yeah.
So, so they write and they're speaking. They're doing so much more. So communication, each and every way, sort of gets catered to.
Yeah.
That they build up. Confidence. And confidence doesn't come from, just saying my lines on stage. No. Confidence comes from the fact that I have thought through this whole 20 classes with a group of people. I have argued. I have learned to agree, to disagree. I had problems. I have learned to solve those. Confidence comes from that kind of knowledge. It comes from experience. It comes from learning.
Yeah.
And obviously creativity.
Yeah.
Because that's something so natural to them. They're so much more creative than us. And, that's why we say, oh my God, the kids have made a play.
Yeah.
We didn't have to.
Yeah.
And critical thinking. Very, very important.
Yeah.
Very important.
Yeah. No, I mean, these are very important personality, life skills that stay with you.
Yeah.
Right? And I know you mentioned that you can't really quantify or put a number to how much time it takes usually. But from your own experience, and I also know that every child is different, right? But from your experience, how long or, how long does it take? Or if there are any quick or tangible wins?
See, obviously, tangible wins, parents do see when they're on stage.
Yeah.
And, they are very happy. And obviously, because, they are just seeing the last day.
Yeah.
For me, the tangible wins are what happens in class, which might not even show on stage.
Yeah.
My tangible win, for example, would be that, if there's a group of children who've just finished a scene, there are other children who are questioning them, and and the child who did not speak much, but they question him as the character, and he talks and explains what he did, why he did. That's my tangible win, because I'm not putting that child in a spot.
Yeah.
It's the character that the question is being spoken to. Yeah, those are our tangible wins.
Yeah.
Obviously, the tangible wins show on stage.
Yeah.
Because by the time they've rehearsed and they've done that, and that's what, it's so nice. Some of the parents are so nice. The other day, this parent messaged me, and, her daughter's done about 2 small plays, and now she's doing a bigger play with us. She's about 6. So, she messaged me specifically, and she said that, I now realize when she's talking to me so much that what we see on the last day is just one part of what you actually do, and what you actually do behind the scenes is actually what you and the children do is what matters the most.
Yeah.
And that's the reason they stick through those classes for that show.
Yeah.
And see, ideally I would say, do at least 3 to 4 terms to see that difference. But sometimes some children, it just, a term only they start showing.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes them a year or 2. But that's the thing. I know sometimes it can get, for parents, a little frustrating, but you've got to see the little consistent growth that your child is doing. It can range from, the child not wanting to come to class, not because, from first day only, not because they don't like a class, but first day only they don't want to do a class. Because these are also children are doing so many classes, they don't know who to trust, who not to trust. What if I get bored? What if, there's just so much happening. So they don't want to come inside the class only. They've not seen our work.
Yeah.
And it was very different earlier. Very different earlier. Children would come, they would not, and they would stay. But right now they don't want to come because they've had such experiences in other classes where they've been forced to attend the classes.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell the parents: first and foremost, do not force your child. Let them take their time. If they're really crying, come back to me a little later.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
There is no rush. In fact, a very good friend of mine, her son started classes with us. He wouldn't want to come, and I said, listen, don't. And this is a story separate from, ideally I said, listen, I tell everybody, don't. If they're crying, let it be. Let him come 6 months later.
Yeah.
He was 4. She said, no, there's a reason he doesn't want to come, because I've been working and he's been now watching a lot of screen.
Okay.
So I have to push him a little bit. Let me just push him a little bit. I'll sit outside and all. She took that effort, and after 2 years of consistent work with him, and within 7-8 months he was settled and he wanted to come. This was his favorite class.
Yeah.
Which knockwood, a lot of parents come and tell us ki, "Arey, what do you do? They don't want to miss your classes. What do
Yeah.
you guys do?" I said, because we value their opinion. We value that they are very important individuals to us. Their expressions, their creativity, their ideas matter.
Yeah.
So at the end of 2 years, she was like, what have you done to him? I said, I haven't. It's the process, and it's you.
Yeah.
It's because you were consistent.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell so many of our parents, whose children are shining. I said, it's you.
Yeah.
You've been so consistent.
Yeah.
And it's the consistency that matters for whatever skill you choose.
Yeah.
If your child, it can be whatever, your child has to have fun in what they are doing. And they say, people say that, oh, my child doesn't like reading. I say, because they've not found their book. It's like that.
Yeah.
So in whatever skill your child chooses, if they're having fun,
Yeah.
they will eventually excel.
Yeah.
And 1%, they don't excel to the level that you expect them to. It's okay.
Yeah.
We are not in a rat race.
Yeah.
There's so much more.
Yeah.
There is so much more.
Yeah.
There's so much more that the kids are
Yeah.
doing and need to do, and they've just started life.
Yeah.
Just 10 years into life, 12 years into life.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one example. It just came to me, like one of the schools. There's a little girl who came to us, and she came to us when she was 3. She started with creative drama at 4, 4.5. I asked her, you want to continue? And she would, for creative drama, she would be like, love, way to go, really participative. Then she got into playmaking, and it was time for her to move on to playmaking. And I said, do you want to do? She's like, yes. But then, when we started, she took her time. She's like, no, I don't want to say this and I don't want to say that. Very particular. Because at the back of her mind, she knew that, this is going to be performed. There will be an audience. So I kept asking her all along the way, you want to do it? So she would not do much in the rehearsals, but she would say, yes, but I want to do it. So we started slowly cutting stuff down. And she did the play very well. I thought she was brilliant. The fact was that she wanted to do it. You got to understand that. She wanted to be a part of this play. She didn't
Yeah.
want to leave it. There were times she would just watch the rehearsals and she would watch everybody else, but she would not do it. But she would watch and sit and observe.
Yeah.
She would watch all the rehearsals. Imagine just sitting for 45 minutes and watching
Yeah.
other children rehearse. But she would do that. And I think she did a brilliant job. And then, I got talking to her mom, and her mom said, I felt that other children performed much better than her. I said I would not compare her journey to other kids because everybody has a different journey.
Yeah.
And she said, but do you really think she's made for drama? Do you really think she's made for theatre? Because in school, she doesn't do theatre and drama at all, her teacher says, and she's got a very bad grade. And this is like one of those schools. I was absolutely quiet. I
Grade.
said, 4.5 years old,
Yeah.
you're grading kids for drama. It's not fair.
Yeah.
I can, I love art. I can be the worst, but I still want to do it.
Yeah.
And I still remember that I used to sing. I used to love singing. I used to think at the age of 5, I'm an amazing singer. I used to think that, and I got an F. I cannot forget that feeling. And I didn't want to sing after that.
Yeah.
And you're singing because you obviously, it brings joy to
Yeah.
you. So then, I said, see. Then she's like, but, and her, and then, I understood her. She said, look, my daughter can only do so many classes in a week. And she loves classes. She loves coming to your classes. She
Yeah.
loves going to other classes. She loves classes.
Yeah.
But do you really think theater is for her, drama is for her?
Huh.
I said, then that's the point where you sit down with your daughter. You have a conversation. That within this week, this, and this. There are 5 things you're doing. We can't do that. You need time to pause. You need time to breathe. We can
Yeah.
only choose 3. What are the 3 you'd like to choose?
Yeah.
If drama, she says, is a part of it, and she's having fun. She's having fun. She is learning,
Yeah.
period. And that learning you can not quantify. You've got to, children are very intuitive. We are very intuitive as adults.
Yeah.
I know sometimes parents tell me, how do I know what my child wants to do? We don't need to know. Your child knows.
Yeah.
You've got to trust their journey.
Yeah.
You've got to trust them. You've got to, because we don't trust ourselves, so we don't trust children.
Yeah.
Like John Holt says, no?
Yeah.
We don't trust ourselves, so we don't trust children.
Yeah.
But it's tough.
It
It's
is.
tough. But so that's what I told her. And she's back. She's been
Wow.
with us, and I'm so happy.
Yeah.
And tremendously, this time, around, oh God, she's so much more involved, so much more confident.
Yeah.
And I know her journey. I know the things she's gone through.
Yeah.
It's not easy. It's
Yeah.
not easy for people. It's not easy to shed shells.
Yeah.
We work and they work.
Hmm.
Sometimes I feel that parents don't even know the kind of work the children they are doing, we are doing,
Yeah.
to shed those. And
Yeah.
it's, sometimes we have plays in our core team will probably meet up 11 or 12 at night because we're still figuring out how to break through and how to help that child.
Wow.
We're constantly talking about, we're living, breathing our children, whoever
Yeah.
comes to us.
Yeah.
Like each child is so important.
Hmm.
Because they're all so unique.
Yeah.
They're all so different.
Yeah. Yeah. And Simran, you touched upon a very important topic in today's time, right? Like children are doing so many activities. And I think then somehow the onus become comes on the parents to
Yeah.
sort of decide
Yeah.
what activity to put
Yeah.
their child at what age.
Yeah.
So if they had to choose creative drama, what is that earliest age or the right age that they can start for their child, and B, how do they decide whether there's any inclination of my child towards drama or no inclination, right? So how do they assess that inclination towards, because because early years, I think all kids are expressive. I can speak for my daughter. She's 19 months old and she's like very expressive. So is that one of the pointers that I can be like, okay, she's expressive, so maybe I can explore this, or are there some other pointers?
I think the main point is the joy. The joy that they get to being in that particular space. Because it is that particular space. See, initially our creative drama starts with a lot of help from storytelling and where we are performing, and slowly we start involving them. It's a very gradual process. But it's just the joy that you see. And then, yes, obviously expression. But it really boils down to, I want to be in this class.
Yeah.
And you have to explore different things with different children to find out what's working, what's not working.
Yeah.
But it's very tricky. The space is so tricky, because also this whole thing about sometimes the children don't want to enter class only because they've just had bad experiences at other places, or they've been forced to do things.
Yeah.
I also feel we should not do too many classes with kids.
Yeah.
It should not be like every day they are going for a class.
Yeah.
There has to be time for unstructured play. There has to be time to breathe. If your child is doing a class every day, they will not enjoy anything. And that happens. You will not believe, so many times, it's not been so many, but it has happened that the child has not even come to our class and the parent has called us and said that I can't send. She's refusing to come. And I say, why? She's like, because we're already doing 5 classes. She's saying, I won't do a 6th one. So I'm like, why do you enroll?
Yeah.
Don't do this to them.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it.
Yeah.
You figure out what the child has to do. Yes, obviously theater drama is like, I'd say, like a team sport is something that I would advise every parent, because it just teaches so many things to children. They learn how to be assertive when they're
Yeah.
doing a team sport. A team sport, one team sport, I will feel that every parent should get their child to do.
Hmm.
Or and then this is how drama works, because it's so much of collaborative work
Hmm.
and it's social skills, that
Yeah.
it really builds their personality.
Yeah.
So that way. But then you also have to see what are they interested in, what are they not interested in. Slowly have conversations, make them do things, but do stuff that they want to do.
Yeah, yeah. And I think what you mentioned earlier about every parent really sitting down with their child, observing
Yeah.
what is it that they
Yeah.
like, what they don't like, and then deciding.
Yeah.
I mean, if the child can communicate,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
But if they can't, then I mean,
Yeah. But I
parents
think
have.
also love of stories. All I've seen like one common factor. And all children love stories.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, and on that, like what are some of the things that parents can do day to day in their homes, which will help sort of, inculcate a lot of these qualities that, you were talking about. So, I mean, storytelling is something
yeah.
that a large part of parents are doing today. But what other activities can they do if they can't really send their child for theater workshops, or if the child is too young, or in that process of assessing?
I don't know activities, because see, I'll be very honest. We're so busy. I
Yeah.
mean, we're running a house, we're working, we have children to bring up. It all looks so beautiful on Instagram when you see that all these moms are doing so much, at home, so many more activities and all. And uh, like a normal mom who has to run a house, who has to work, who has to um, so to actually make those activities, those time
Yeah.
consuming, it
Yeah.
takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
I would say, I think take it more naturally.
Hmm.
As far as the very young children are concerned, they're
Yeah.
constantly pretending.
Yeah.
Constantly, you'll see them, they're role playing, they're pretending. Believe in their pretense,
Yeah.
play with them,
Hmm.
let them take the lead.
Hmm.
Believe in their magic, leave the adult logic behind.
Hmm.
So I'll give you an example. A lot of the parents come and ask us, really? Can a 3.5 really tell you a story, their own story? How can
Yeah.
a 3.5 make their own story?
Yeah.
As children make stories all the time.
Yeah.
I think what we do is we start censoring them. We start correcting them. We start telling them that this is the way your story should be. Or we start asking too many questions about the story.
Hmm.
So that's why when the joy of the story finishes for the child.
Hmm.
Children are natural storytellers, natural pretenders, natural improvisers.
Yeah.
You've got to let their personality blossom. You have to accept, you have to listen, you have to again connect, not correct. Connecting is very important,
Yeah. Yeah.
and find out where it's coming from, and what can we do with it.
Yeah.
So it'll come. It just comes every day, those moments.
Yeah.
It's those moments in that I would say that accept, listen to their ideas, listen to their talks.
Yeah.
That's what builds their confidence. That's what I told in the earlier on the conversation. This parent told me that, what do you do that my child wants to come to your class, don't want to miss a class? I say, we value what they say. Apart from obviously what they construct and they do with other children, they know this is my space.
Yeah.
This is my canvas. I'm going to color it the way I want to with other people.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, what I hear is parents actually don't have to do more, they have to do less.
Yeah.
And let the child do
Yes,
more of.
they have to do less.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that's very comforting.
They have to.
As a parent.
Yeah.
That, because there's just so much going on in the world about this activity,
Yeah.
that activity,
Yeah.
this activity box,
Yeah.
this DIY.
Yeah.
That as a
Yeah.
parent, you feel guilty
Yeah.
if you're not doing all of
Yeah.
that. And I think the guilt more comes because you feel your child is missing
Yeah.
out.
So I've ordered those to try it out. And I realized that she doesn't need, my daughter doesn't need, there's like, the chaddar is kept there. She's got to use that and do whatever she wants to.
Yeah.
She's forever playing with her towels, creating dresses all the time.
Yeah.
So you don't have to.
Yeah.
I think what we need to do is that whenever we're present. It's like that, which is very tough.
Yeah. No, that's true. And
It's very tough. It's very tough being a parent now. It's very tough being an educator. It's very tough being a child. I think they have the toughest.
Yeah.
There's just so much information,
True.
so much media that
True. No, and
I think ours was a easier.
yeah, that's what I tell people, that I think everywhere, we've heard that, oh, you have it easier. In our times, things were so different. But I actually feel the children of today have it much harder
Much harder.
because of
Much harder.
everything that's
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, and
I think as moms also we have it much harder, if you
yes,
ask me.
for sure. That's true.
It is.
Yeah.
As dads also.
Yeah.
Not just moms.
Not just
dads
moms.
as well.
True, true. Everyone has their own struggles,
Yeah.
I think, in this world. And I think this is what we intend to do with our platform and these conversations, right? That to give that reassurance and that validation to parents that, okay, what you're doing is right. It's okay. And I think this conversation also will really help them. So, as the last thought, I think we've spoken so much about children, their brilliance, parents, right? So, at the end of the day, every parent wants their child to shine. And what is that one takeaway from this entire conversation, which would like to call the Sitaara Advice for parents? So, what do you think that would be? And you're free to break it down into, because you work in different age groups, so you're okay to break it down into different age groups. Or if there's just one advice you want to give, we'd love to know.
So we give a lot of advice now as Indians. No, but it's not an advice. It's a request. A request that I see throughout ages, that, children are not an extension of our personality. They're an identity of their own. And I think that's the most tough part for us to come to terms with as parents.
Yeah.
And everybody. I'm a mom as well. I make mistakes all the time. But, I have to constantly that my child is a different person than me and my husband. And she is building her own belief system, her own attitudes, her own thing. And, that's the thing. We need to trust this process. We need to trust that, we've got to let them be.
Yeah.
We've really got to let them be. That's important.
Yeah. No, thank you.
It's very tough.
Yeah, it is. And especially because all the things that you touched upon, parents feeling that, oh, I am not creative, so my child is not creative.
Yeah.
I'm not a reader, so my child is not, I don't know how to get them to
Yeah.
read or to be creative.
Yeah. Also, the other way, like, oh my God, I was so good in theatre, but my child is so shy. She's not even standing on the stage.
Yeah.
But she's a different person.
Yeah.
In fact, one little story I'll share with you. We were doing a play, and, there's this child who came, and she struggled through performing for children, performing in front of other people. Young girl. And, we were going through the whole, and I asked her, I said, who are we doing this for?
Yeah.
She said, our parents. And I said, no.
Oh.
I said, no. We are doing this for ourselves. You're doing it for you.
Yeah.
You will do the drama class for you. You will not do it. And after that, I'm okay if the parent wants to, doesn't connect to us, whatever. But I tell the parents first and foremost that, they're doing it for themselves. If they're happy doing it, we
Yeah.
are happy.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. That's very important. Yeah. So yeah, I think, Simran, great conversation, and we'll love to have this collaboration going. For our viewers, you'll see a lot more of
Thank
Simran
you.
going forward with us. Yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
It was
It
great
was a
having
pleasure.
you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.